What is going to be the impact of the strike?
Charlie, that's questions being asked all over the league today. Some of those answers forthcoming here today, but two things that we're going to look specifically at. And the first is the impact of the strike on team unity. The Raiders had 26 players cross the line, most in the NFL. The Seahawks basically stayed together as a team, 5 players coming across after they'd voted as a team. The other thing they're going to look for, we're going to look for today, is how quickly these two teams can get back to speed, how quickly they can get up to performing level for the NFL.
What's going to be the key to that return to form?
Well, I think basically we're going to watch how quickly they can get back into hitting shape. That's something they haven't done for a while. They'll get some hits out there today, and also the timing.
And let's now go down to the field and the opening kickoff. There is some good news, though, on the return to form, and that is the fact that, well, you had some time for all the injuries to heal, so they're healthy. And that will be the Raiders' offense that you will be looking at in just a moment as Los Angeles won the toss. And they elected to receive, and that means that Norm Johnson will be kicking off with Stephon Adams and Vance Mueller, the deep backs, on the return. And it is Adams at the goal line. He's out to the 10, the 15, and he is decked right at the 17-yard line, 16-yard line. And that answers one question. How will the hitting be? The hit-or is all right, and the hit-e is slow. And looks slow coming back to form.
Eric Lane, number 37, who is the only player active on this roster who's considered one of the replacement players. The hit is right there. No, that's number 53, Keith Butler. Eric Lane also there, but Keith Butler, a linebacker, really getting that shot. Seattle fame.
It's underway here in the Coliseum with no score between the Raiders and the Seattle Seahawks. As you saw, Stephon Adams, who was shaken up on the opening return, coming off of the field. We'll have a report on him as soon as possible. Hilger is back to throw. Rusty Hilger, the quarterback. Now he steps out of the pocket, and he goes to the 22-yard line. So he scrambles for 5. It'll be second down and 5. Now we'll look at that offense of the Raiders. Greg Gaines making the tackle for Seattle. It's Rusty Hilger with Marcus Allen and the rookie Steve Smith as the running backs. Lofton and Fernandez are the wide receivers, and Todd Christensen is the tight end. Davis, Hannah, Mospar, Wilkinson, and Clay, that offensive line with a pair of rookies. The number 2 draft choice, Wilkerson, the number 1 draft choice, John Clay, on the right side. Second down and 10. Lofton in motion. And Marcus Allen is cut down at the 21-yard line. So you'll lose a yard. It's going to be third down as Jeff Bryant made the stop. And let's look at that defense. Stephon Adams, a minor knee strain. He can walk it off, and he will be back.
Charlie, they've moved Jeff Bryant from his end position over on the rookie Wilkerson. So they've got Wilkerson and Clay against the 2 veteran defensive ends on the left-hand side.
Flags are flying. Doki Williams was in motion. It's third down and 6.
Penalty flags in the play.
False start.
This Raider team has made
number 79 offense, still third down.
And we have seen out there on the field.
Third down and 11. Marcus Allen, the remaining back, to block for Hilger in the shotgun. Allen swings out to the right flat. Hilger going deep, and it is incomplete at the 40-yard line. Patrick Hunter had the defensive coverage, and it was Doki Williams who was going deep.
This is the kind of timing you worry about, because even though you can practice this when you're by yourselves off on a field somewhere, you can't practice it with a defensive line coming aggressively at you, and with a secondary who's going to do everything it can to get up there and knock that ball away.
And it is fourth down, and Stan Talley, at 6'5", 215 pounds, will be kicking to Bobby Joe Edmonds. Here's pressure, and he barely gets it off. Seattle may have gotten a piece of it. That was Melvin Jenkins. And the ball rolls to the 37-yard line. 47 yards on the kick. And here comes Melvin Jenkins from the left side.
Talking to Rusty Tillman early, he said, we're going to go after their punter. He's a little bit slow. We're going to see if we can get in there and block one. Well, they came about as close as you can without blocking it. I think he just scared him a bit. He had to goose it a little bit to get it out of there. Didn't go very far.
Ended up with a pretty good roll, and Seattle first time on offense at their own 38-yard line with Dave Krieg, the quarterback. And we have some jumping flags in the air as Los Angeles was in the neutral zone. Kurt Warner, the ball carrier, but right now for an update, let's go to neutral. Thank you, Bob. Here, the penalty against the Raiders for being in the neutral zone. And it's first down and 5. No score. We're just about 2 minutes and 45 seconds into the ball game as Kurt Warner moves to the 47-yard line. Going to be second down and 1. Seattle's offense, Dave Krieg, Kurt Warner, and John L. Williams in the backfield with Largent and Turner outside. Mike Tice is the tight end. Mattis, Bailey, Bush, Millard, and Wilson, that offensive line. John L. Williams, they'll mark it close to the first down. There's a little over a yard. Bill Packel makes the tackle, and Matt Millen was also there.
If they can control the football on the ground, you're going to see a lot of running here today.
Krieg to throw, and it is knocked down. Bill Packel.
One of the things that Dave Krieg does as he delivers the football and will look in from behind, he tends to sidearm the football, and that means he's vulnerable to this kind of play. You see that ball knocked right back in his face by Bill Packel, number 71.
And it's second down and 10. Quick setup, a pump fake, and a little sidearm off to Kurt Warner. And Warner goes out at the 45-yard line of the Raiders. A gain of 6. It'll be third down and 4 as Jerry Robinson was chasing it. Largent and Turner go to the far side. Scansey and Butler to the near side. So 4 wide receivers from the shotgun and a 4-man rush. Oh, and it is Largent who pulls it in. Steve Largent. Now the record continues with his reception in 143 consecutive games. And a first down.
Team.
Scansey showing motion. Deep pass, end zone, incomplete, going to Darryl Turner. And as you watch that play, we'd like to welcome those of you who have been watching the New York Jets and the Washington Redskins. Oh, and a close one. Washington 17, the Jets 16. Winning it on a 28-yard field goal with 54 seconds to go by Ali Al-Jashiq. And Merlin, let's go back to that last play.
They love to go deep to Turner. Great deep threat, excellent speed, working on Mike Haynes one-to-one, and he had some room, but that ball just over his fingertips. No TD.
Second down and 10. 9:56 time remaining first quarter. We have no score. Krieg scrambles, and he is dropped. Looked for an opening and couldn't find it. Jerry Robinson has the sack.
Three of these Raiders were in the lineup last week as they played. Robinson, one of those, Howie Long another, and Bill Packel another. And one of the things that they gained from coming back was that they really are in hitting condition. You see how quickly they're able to put the pressure on inside. Largent could not get into the pattern as he is simply knocked off his feet by Reggie McKenzie, number 54.
He didn't have a chance in the world. Like to welcome those watching the New England-Indianapolis game as Krieg goes deep. It is Largent on the sideline. He has got it. Yes, that is his second reception of the ballgame. First down at the 22-yard line, a gain of 24 yards.
Charlie, it appeared that Largent did not get his feet down in bounds, but he was knocked out by the defender. Let's watch the play now. At the end of this play, let's look at Largent's feet. Well, can't see there. Here we'll see it from this angle. It doesn't matter if he does not get his feet down here. If he is knocked out of bounds, no, he got him in anyway. Got him in anyway. But I think they would have given it to him had he not gotten those feet down.
It was 3rd and 17. First down, a pickup of 24 yards. Tice showing motion, and Kurt Warner. Warner to the 12-yard line. A gain of 12. Oh, a gain of 10. Let's go to New York. Seattle doing what they want to do. Control the clock even early. Control the offense. Take a lot of time. Be very deliberate. This drive started back at their own 38. And Kurt Warner has the first down at the 8-yard line. So it'll be first down and goal to go. First down, goal to go at the 8-yard line. Timing pattern into the corner. Flag is down. It'll be pass interference.
No question about it. No question about it. The ball was in the air. Mike Haynes knew that he was not in position. He's a veteran player. He just grabbed him and hooked him. You saw it about a step and a half, 2 steps before Darrell Turner reached up for that football. We may not see it from this angle because it was early. Yeah, no, well, you do see it from that angle. You see contact there before the ball arrived. There's no question about the call. Good call by the officials. Ball on the 1-yard line. They don't give you the TD, but it's a first down from there.
First down, goal to go. First in motion. Here's Kurt Warner. No, does not make it. A final, San Francisco defeats New Orleans in a close one, 24-22. A lot of close ball games. As the Seahawks threaten the first score. Burst in motion again. Play action fake. Incomplete. Mike Tice, the tight end, the intended receiver.
Van McElroy, angry at himself, had his hands on that football briefly. Read that very, very well from his free safety position. The blitz is on. MERLIN coming. There is McElroy right in front of Tice, and you saw him get his hands on that football, but couldn't hang on. Boy, that would have been a big play for the Raider defense.
Third down, goal to go.
If they could force him to a field goal here, it would be a swing of emotion.
Warner over the top. Touchdown. Kurt Warner has the opening touchdown of the ballgame. That, by the way, only his second score of the year.
Charlie, you midline.
Jeff Kemp to hold, and Norm Johnson with the point after. And it's true to form. 62 yards on the drive in 13 plays. And Seattle is out in front of Los Angeles by a score of 7-0. We'll be back with the kickoff. Welcome back to the Coliseum in Los Angeles with the score: the Seattle Seahawks 7 and the Los Angeles Raiders 0. And that means that Norm Johnson will be kicking off for Seattle. But now it'll be Vance Mueller and Dokie Williams. And this kickoff is sponsored by Budweiser, the king of beers. Stephon Adams, normally back as a return man for the Raiders, was shaken up on the opening return and has been replaced by Dokie Williams.
Not a good kick. It's very short.
And Williams from the 11 cuts back. There's a flag down. He leans to the 25-yard line, but there's a marker on the play. Jerry Seaman, the referee. And it'll be a face mask against the Seahawks.
Wow.
So they'll add it to the end of the play.
Face mask upfield, obviously used trying to get away from one of the blockers. Unusual call on a kickoff.
15-yard face mask, number 34, kicking team, first down.
And it's on Tony Burse. And so Los Angeles will go to work at their own 40. Let's check the 10-minute ticker. High scoring, close ball games. Washington by 1 over the Jets. Chicago by 1 over Tampa Bay. San Francisco by 2 over New Orleans. Pittsburgh by 3 over Cincinnati. Philadelphia big 17 over Dallas. And Indianapolis 30-16 over New England. And here the score is Seattle 7, the Raiders nothing. Marcus Allen tries the left side, and there's 1 yard there to the 41. It'll be second down and 9 as Fred Young was there to meet him. In overtime, are they in overtime now? Yes, Buffalo and Miami in overtime now tied at 31-31. In the fourth quarter, Atlanta leading by 3, and a final Green Bay by 1 over Detroit. I don't remember this many high-scoring, very close ball games.
You're down at Miami. You want to be paid by the hour. That's their second overtime game in 2 weeks.
Or Green Bay.
Yeah.
They've had 3 of them already. Good. Second down and 9. Rusty Hilger, the quarterback. Hilger with a play-action fake, has pressure. He's going to be called for intentionally grounding the ball.
Bad choice.
Yeah.
Rusty Hilger, Charlie, is the kind of player hurt most by this strike. A young quarterback trying to get his confidence, trying to...
Pressure again, and he goes down. That's 2 in a row. Jeff Bryan gets this one.
They stunned it on the 2 young rookies over there, and they simply weren't able to pick it up. Clay and Wilkerson on the right-hand side of that Raider line. You'll see it right here. They're pulling to the inside, and you'll see Green pop clean. There's Bryant from one side, Green from the other. And number 77, Jeff Bryant, stunning inside, the man who was on Hilger first.
Stan Talley will be kicking, and Bobby Joe Edmonds is set for the return. One thing you notice immediately, the players like they could hardly wait to get back to hitting each other. Edmonds misjudged it and had to call for the fair catch back at the 33-yard line, but a kick of 43 yards for Stan Talley. Seattle leads it 7-0, 6:22 left to go. We're in the first. One of the things that you talked about at the beginning of the telecast, team unity, the effect of the strike. You were involved in 2 strikes in 1970, 1974. How did it affect you and your team?
Charlie, it took a while. You know, we had people crossing the line and going in, and there were some really angry things said during those strike periods. It takes a while to forget them, and I got to tell you that part of the reason that you can forget, if you're winning, things get away from you. You just say, the heck with that, doesn't matter. But if you start to lose, then some of those feelings really turn on a team and tend to get bigger and bigger.
Here's Kurt Warner. And another final just in. It is Houston defeating Atlanta 37-33. The margin 4 points. Another close one. And for an update on these close ball games, let's go to New York. Bob Cox. All right, Bob, here in the Coliseum, 7-0 Seattle. And Krieg is dropped back at the 30-yard line. So a sack for the Raiders. That is their second. And Malcolm Taylor gets it.
Taylor coming in from the inside as the Raiders putting a couple of fresh bodies in there. Big, strong horse. Watch him coming right in over the center. Blair Bush just pushes his way through with that rip move. You saw him ripping up with that arm, lifting Blair Bush almost off the ground. That's a 270-pound center. He lifted up and pushed all the way back to the quarterback. Getting some congratulations on the sideline from his coach.
Third down and 14. Krieg scrambling and then throwing, and nobody is there. There was a misread downfield as Turner had broken off his pattern and started to come back to help. Meanwhile, Sam Seal, who was covering it, in reality the closest player to it. It is 4th and 14, and that means that Seattle will be kicking.
Oh, after putting together such an impressive opening drive, The Raider defense stiffens up here, forces the ball to be kicked. I don't expect the Raiders to be quite as aggressive on special teams as Seattle would be on a day like this. I think they're more concerned about not making the big mistake against the Seattle special teams.
Ruben Rodriguez to kick. It is Ron Fellows who is the return. There's a flag down. And Fellows mishandles the ball. It is recovered, I believe, by Seattle. Now, don't forget there was a flag down back at the 18-yard line. And Fellows replacing Stephon Adams, who was injured early. He makes a mistake on the return, but they may bring it back depending on the flag.
Last week, Townsend bumped into the kicker in that game against San Diego, and I think he's done it again here, although he goes right over the top of a blocker to do it. You can't go in there and smack into that kicker. He's claiming that he was blocked into the kicker. That's not true. He was providing the impetus, and you saw a second flag go down, so there are 2 penalties.
Illegal formation. Number 92 did not report as an ineligible.
Yes. The hat going down was the second flag in essence.
Running into the kicker.
So Seattle is penalized. We're going to have this whole play come back.
Offsetting fouls, 4th down.
So offsetting fouls that hurt Seattle. And because a player was at David Wyman, number 92, is that what he said, who did not report? And he was in on the...
Still a bit of incredulity on the sideline as Rusty Tillman doesn't quite understand that foul.
Illegal formation and running into the kicker.
Good kick.
And Fellows again disdains the fair catch. He has it at the 39-yard line, a 33-yard kick with a 2-yard return. I'd like to welcome those of you watching the Buffalo-Miami game. Buffalo winning it 34-31. Here are the scores: Seattle 7, Raiders nothing, and we'll be back in just a...
Action in the trenches, fierce as always between these two teams. Brian Millard said, hey, when we play the Raiders, we pump a little more air in the helmets and order a case of aspirin. And flat hit them.
Marcus Allen. Marcus from the 39 to the 44. Marcus picks up 5. It'll be 2nd down and 5. Jacob Green with a tackle to Bob Costas. Leading the Raiders 7-0. The Raiders thus far minus 9 yards total offense. Here's Marcus Allen out to the 50-yard line. He has 6, so now it is minus 3 yards total offense with 3:55 left to go in the first quarter. Now let's check the 10-minute ticker. Washington wins by 1. Chicago wins by 1. San Francisco wins by 2. Pittsburgh by 3. Philadelphia by 17. Indianapolis wins by 14. Final in overtime, Buffalo in another close one in overtime, of course. Houston wins by 4, and Green Bay wins by 1. Unbelievably close ball game. First down. Marcus a quick 7 yards. It'll be 2nd down and 3.
A play that we often see in short yardage. Trey Junkin, the tight end, coming in motion, actually becomes a lead blocker for Marcus. And although they've changed a lot of faces in that lineup, number 32, Marcus Allen, back to his old tricks. He's healthy this year, running the ball extremely well, although they have not done much in the early series of this ball game. This is the first drive that they've really been able to get going on.
Marcus Allen, the remaining back, 2nd and 3. This is Lofton in motion. Hilger to throw. Off to Allen. Allen a spin move. Dives to the 42-yard line, though, Marcus. So only for 1. 3rd down and 2 as Eugene Robinson makes the tackle. Let's check the last scores. Kansas City trailing San Diego with the early lead. The Giants out in front of St. Louis 14-0, and the Giants need to get something going.
They sure do.
They really do.
I'll tell you, they're carrying a heavy load. Charlie, it's worth talking about again. 7 new faces in this starting lineup today for the Raiders. Lofton and Fernandez at wide receiver, Steve Smith at fullback, Clay and Wilkerson in the line, and of course Rusty Hilger at quarterback. 7 of 11.
And here comes one of them, Lofton, and here's another one, Hilger. And then to the familiar face, Marcus Allen. He'll have only a yard.
What a nice play by Brian Bosworth, number 55. And you talked to Tom Catlin, defensive coordinator for the Seattle Seahawks. He said, this guy's got another gear. He just got another gear. Well, he shifted into high overdrive on that one. He'll come. See him on the left side of your screen, number 55. Watch the acceleration here. He looks like he's behind. He just kicks it into high speed and runs down Marcus Allen, who doesn't step too badly himself.
He caught him in the neck and the shoulder pads. It was not a face mask. And on 4th down and just under a yard, Talley to kick. And he is hanging this one up in the air. Edmonds stays away from it. It goes into the end zone for the touchback and will bring it out to the 20-yard line. 1:13. That is the time remaining in the first quarter. A 41-yard kick. We've got a timeout. We'll be back. We have seen the man on the right. We are scheduled to see the man on the left. Brian Bosworth on the right, Bo Jackson on the left.
Quite possibly the two most important rookies, potentially, in terms of impact on their teams down the road out of this year's draft, and neither of them came through the draft. Bosworth in the supplemental draft. Well, Jackson actually did come through the draft.
But the second time.
In the second time
but
around.
not through the normal first procedure.
Having opted not to play in Tampa a couple of years ago, he's now back into the system here with the Raiders.
Seattle leading 7-0 with the first down at their own 20-yard line. And here's Kurt Warner. Leans across the 25. We'll mark it for 5. And it will be 2nd down and 5. Sean Jones making the tackle.
All year this year on natural turf. This is one of those games.
Kurt Warner, 7 carries, 26 yards, and a touchdown. And John L. Williams to the 29. He has 4, 3rd down and 1. Stephon Adams, the return man for the Raiders, a sprained ligament, and he is out for the rest of the game, and that can be costly, as we saw the problem that Ron Fellows had on 2 punt returns, one of which he fumbled and lost, but was brought back by penalty.
That's Vince Evans right next to Stephon Adams. Of course, Evans quarterbacked this team through the replacement games, the scab games that we've just completed. They kept him on the roster. He's not active for this game, and I've got a hunch, Charlie, if Rusty Hilger does not play very well the next couple of weeks, you might see Vince Evans back in their quarter.
Statistics, minus 17 yards passing for the Raiders. Total offense 55 yards to 7.
Now, it might have a flashback if you're a Raider fan to that first league game for Rusty Hilger, in which he had a horrible first half, was injured. Mark Wilson came in to bail him out, and of course, if Rusty has problems today, it's Wilson who would probably be asked to come in and pick up for where he left off.
That was the opening game against Green Bay. The first half he completed only 2 of 7 for 12 yards. Also sustained a shoulder injury as Warner goes over the top on 3rd down and 1 and picks up the first down. We'll mark it the 31-yard line, 32-yard line. And a first down. Tom Flores, head coach of the Raiders.
I saw him on the way down to the locker room this morning. I said, Coach, did you enjoy that extra hour of sleep with daylight savings being turned back? He said, you mean that extra hour of tossing and turning?
That's right.
The life of a head coach in the NFL.
First down, Seattle. Seahawks leading the Raiders 7-0. Largent in motion. Krieg almost stumbles coming back, has pressure, steps out, lofts it deep. And it is caught. Yeah. Kurt Warner. 26 yards. You had the feeling that Warner can do anything they want him to do.
Who said they don't have Stickum anymore in the NFL? Boy, it looks like he's got some on his hand here. A good job of getting away from number 75, Howie Long. And I think he actually got bumped by Jerry Robinson, the linebacker, coming on the blitz. Watch this one-handed stop, controls the football, pulls it back in, then gets nailed. But what a nice play by Kurt Warner.
Van McElroy bumped him out of bounds, 42-yard line. And a first down. And here's Warner again. And he breaks 3 tackles to the 35.
He's not going to lose it. He's not going to fall down. He's going to save it and then get that extra yard for you.
We saw his 36 yards rushing. He has 32 yards receiving. He has 68 yards in total offense. And here he is again. 33-yard line. The 3rd down and 1 as Malcolm Taylor was there. And as effective as Kurt Warner is.
The same is true of Seattle. This Raider team has probably changed the least of any team in the NFL over the last 2 decades.
Warner just trying to pick up about a foot. There's a fumble at the bottom.
No, Charlie. Looked like the ball was loose. Sorry, I didn't mean to get you off with the wrong foot there.
Malcolm, I got so excited. San Diego with a 4-1 record, leading the AFC West as we started today. As you take another look, San Diego leading Kansas City 14-0, and the Giants leading St. Louis 14-0, and the Giants 0-5. Oh, the teams are handicapped.
Boy, it's like a horse race, and they just placed some heavy weights. And I said at the start of the day that the Giants at 0-5 must feel like they're carrying the Empire State Building on their backs.
And they're not making a lot of progress with it, but they are today. Play action. Krieg is hit. That's a fumble. The ball is loose.
Great
Seattle
job.
has it at the
Brian
40.
Millard, number 71. What a great job of getting that football back. You try and teach alertness to your players. There were about 4 Raiders who had a shot at that football, but it's an offensive lineman, number 71, Brian Millard, who's going to come back and get it. Watch him. He's blocking right here on Howie Long. Howie forces the fumble. Now watch 71, Millard. There's Sean Jones has a shot at it, but it's Millard who fights for that football. Look at all those black shirts.
Oh, that's a great play. That is a great play.
Very alert play. Great play by Howie, too, who has not had a couple of great games the last couple of weeks.
Second down and 18. Krieg going deep. It is too high. Had a man. And that is Paul Scansey, but the pass was too high for Scansey. And it'll be third down and 18. Scansey, kind of a warm, muggy day. The temperature scheduled for the upper 70s, maybe a little bit warmer than that here in the Coliseum. Third down, a 4-man rush with some games going on over the middle at the 20-yard line. It is Ray Butler. 21 yards, first down by 3 yards. Rod Martin will color the dime in the secondary. That's 5 or 6 players. Here's Kurt Warner. Warner made an outside head fake and then was decked by Matt Millen.
Actually, Charlie, I think what happened is that Warner was decked by the turf.
Is that what it was?
He got that right foot down and it went right out from underneath him. Watch natural turf, particularly when there's not much of a root system to it.
Second down and 8. Here's Warner. And he goes out of bounds at the 15-yard line. Jerry Robinson was. You played here. How solid is the turf here?
I think it's a lot better now than it was when we played here because
games here. The score: Seattle 7, Los Angeles 0, and Seattle is threatening again at the 15-yard line. Third down. Krieg into the corner. It is caught. Touchdown. Ray Butler. 15 yards.
Number 43, Sammy Seal, trying to cover man-to-man.
To attempt to point after a play that you normally see from inside the 5-yard line. This you saw with the line of scrimmage, the 15. It is good, and Seattle stretched the margin. The score: Seattle 14 and Los Angeles.
Computer solutions from the people who never stop asking, what if? And by Coors and Coors Light, beers with a difference worth tasting.
This is Charlie Jones, Merlin Olson, and the touchdown scoring Ray Butler, number 83. That, by the way, his first touchdown of this season. 80-yard drive in 13 plays. Krieg to Butler, and for Dave Krieg, that is his 6th touchdown pass of the year. And when he is hot, he is hot.
Bet he is, and he is off to a burning start here today.
Norm Johnson kicking off with Vance Mueller and Doki Williams, the return man. This will be Mueller at the 1. 15. A little tentative move, and he is brought down at the 19-yard line by Eric Lane.
Number 37, really the last player brought in, and the last player cut. He was like a 40. Mueller knocking him to the ground.
And how will Eric Lane, a replacement team player, be accepted?
Well, I tell you, he's been
hits
part
like
of this team for a lot of years, and it won't take many shots like that to fit him right back in.
Hilger, little play action in trouble, stepping away from Bosworth. He may just have heard the Bos going by. And the Bos looks different today.
The Boz, of course, a colorful player in his own right. I think the Boz was surprised. He did. Watch him coming in. Number 55, right-hand side of your screen. Nobody blocks him. Nobody blocks him. I think he was so surprised he ran right over Hilger. Amazing. Again, they're working on the rookie side, the rookie right side of that offensive line. You get two rookies in there, you get some problems, some communication problems in there.
Second down and 20. Marcus Allen. And he is ridden down. The ball pops loose. They're going to call it dead at the 15-yard line. So a gain of 6. It'll be third down and 14. And a reminder to our viewers, we'll be selecting the Budweiser most valuable. So we'll take another look at it. That's what they're going over.
What are they looking at, Charlie?
See if it was a fumble or not. See if the ball called it.
They can't call. Obviously, it's not about the necktie tie.
No. That's the conference, and it's now Chuck
says touchdown.
So we'll take another look at it as the officials are also. That's the umpire, Rex Stewart, number 103. Tom Flory's the head coach, as everybody now awaits to see.
Here it comes, so you can see what they're looking at in the replay booth. From directly behind the action, Marcus is going to go outside. Patrick Hunter will tackle him. Now, does the ball come out as he hits the ground or before he hits the ground? Well, we will never know. It looks to me like it does not leave his hand until he is buried on the ground.
I think it's a good call to leave it stand. Here's another angle. By now, the whole world knows the ground cannot cause a fumble.
That is a lousy tackle by Patrick Hunter, though.
Yeah.
The knee was down prior to the fumble. Consequently, the defense cannot recover the ball. It'll be third down.
Chuck is not going to agree with that one.
That's all right.
Tom Flores thought that was an excellent call.
Excellent call. That's right. Now remember that I mentioned that the Boz looks different, and that's a story that we do have an ending for that, and we will get to it. Look at that total yards.
A lot of that coming from the horrible pass offense of the Raiders on this day. They've been able to run the football but not throw it.
And Marcus Allen taking a handoff from Rusty Hilger, and it'll be fourth down as Melvin Jenkins makes the tackle. And that means that Stan Talley will be kicking. Bobby Joe Edmonds with an opportunity to give Seattle excellent field position.
Charlie, I wonder how long we go before we see a Mark Wilson today.
Taken on the run at the 45. He's to the 50, the 45. Did not step out of bounds. Returns to the 40-yard line. A 37-yard kick, a 15-yard return. Jerry Robinson makes the tackle. We've got a timeout. Seattle leads it 14 to home turf against Seattle.
Well, the last time the Seahawks won here was back in '83. This has been like a home-and-home series. You win at home, we'll win at home. But that trend breaking here in the first half.
As Kurt Warner goes to the 32-yard line, so he picks up 8. It's going to be second down a couple. Jerry Robinson makes the tackle. He does look different, doesn't he?
There's no color in his hair today, Charlie. You notice that?
Yes, and you asked him, what did he say?
I said, why don't you have any color in your hair? He said, when you go to Hollywood, you don't have to go Hollywood. I think he's fun.
You really like him, don't you?
Well, I do.
You had kind of mixed emotion.
I didn't expect to like him. I did not expect to like him, Charlie. I didn't. He's smart, too. I'll tell you, let me give you a little story on that.
All right. Second down and 2. Seattle leading 14-0. Flag on the play.
I think we've got an offsides on Howie Long on the far side. One of the Raiders offside. Charlie, when we opened the season up in Denver, the Denver game, I tell you, it's kind of unfair in a way that we focus so much attention on him. He's just colorful, but the guy playing next to him, Freddie Young, is playing better football than he is right now.
First downs, look at that, 12-1. Flag is down. Pass is complete to Ray Butler. Butler leads to the 16, but will come back to the marker.
I think we got a holding call where that one was thrown, and of course that'll march it back 10 yards. It'll be 1st and 20.
Stacey Turan making the tackle. We have 7 minutes and 4 seconds left in the first half. A first half dominated by the Seattle Seahawks. Here's Jerry Seaman.
Holding, number 75 offense, still first down.
Moon Pie Wilson. Big Mike. You'll see it.
He gave the wrong signal.
Yeah, he did. Here at the top. Oh, he's got a hammer lock on Howie. Number 75 on number 75. Had his arm up underneath Howie's chin. And I'd say that's not an easy job trying to take him, and it looked like he had him one-on-one.
And it's 1st and 20. Largent goes wide to the far side. Not the dominating factor that he was in last week's replacement day. He caught like the first 11 in a row, including 3 touchdowns. This is a tight end, Mike Tice. And speaking of looking different, you know, we talked about the Bosworth looking different. Were there a couple of other players that also looked different?
Well, when you have some time off, Charlie, you got a little time on your hands. Sometimes you think maybe you want to change things a little bit, make them look a little bit different than they did in the past. A little surprise for you. That's Tice before the strike and after the strike.
He lost it?
Yeah, well, no, he didn't lose it. His daughter Adrian, 2 months old, didn't like that, and Daddy changed it. Well, somebody did find it, however. Whoop, we'll show you that in just a second.
As soon as we find it, you will know also. 2nd down and 14. Daryl Turner in motion. Quarterback draw. Quarterback draw to the 23-yard line.
Well, and if you look on the chin of that young man, Dave Krieg, you'll notice something that wasn't there before the strike. 3 weeks growth of beard, and he said down the locker room, he said, how's it look? Look all right? What do you think? Is it going to fill in? I said, another couple of weeks. It's going to be all right, Dave. But it does change his look rather dramatically, doesn't it?
Yes. 3rd down at the 23-yard line.
Seattle driving again. They've had 2 very fine long drives to score. In scoring position again here.
3rd down and 6. Turner again in motion. Largent.
First down.
15-yard line. Needed 6. He got 8.
One of the things that this Raider defense is not doing today that they have done in the past, very often they would look differently. He just ends up in the same place. He is a master.
Seahawks 8 of 9 3rd downs. The last one they went for the touchdown.
Oh. Boy, that was a shot on Warner as he looked like somebody shook him up there. Jerry Robinson, I think, the man who really put a clincher on him at the end of that. Here's Warner. Watch at the end of this run. Paquel gets him around. It's the second shot here. Ooh. McElroy. Oh, hard to tell. Reggie McKenzie. 3 Raiders. Lots of black shirts, but you notice those piles are always moving toward the Raider goal line. Not a good sign for this Raider defense.
2nd down and 7. Quarterback draw again.
Stop and start. Twice in a row.
Not a bad move. The first one from the shotgun and this one from the normal set.
I hated that play as a defensive lineman because you're trying to rush the passer and you're going all out. You see that there's no draw. You're really going in after that quarterback, and all of a sudden he's going up, and very often there's nothing between him and the goal line. If he hadn't been stopped running into the stack there, probably would have had the first down. As it is, very close to it.
3rd down and 1.
I always felt that was kind of cheating when they ran that play, Charlie.
Here's Warner.
First down. Touchdown.
And the touchdown. His 2nd of the ball game. 6 yards out.
Team leadership as well, but there's no question about which team is playing better here at the moment.
The kick is good. A 40-yard drive. And Seattle now leading Los Angeles by a score of 21-0. As Kurt Warner has just scored his 2nd touchdown.
Thursday, they've been practicing every day since, and a lot of heavy practices. They were hitting on several occasions in pads a lot of times. They look logy to me. They do not have fresh legs. Knox gave his players a day off on Tuesday, and earlier last week, although they practiced on Friday and Saturday and Sunday, it was conditioning work only.
This is Vance Mueller on the kickoff return. He's the 10, the 15. returns to the 30-yard line. In time of possession, Seattle 18.5 minutes, Los Angeles 8.5 minutes. So a 10-minute difference in time of possession.
And Charlie, you don't want to draw too heavy of trends, but let's look at what happened before the strike. The Raiders off to such a bright start, 2-0, leading the league. Denver, Kansas City, San Diego, Seattle, all at that 1-1 or 1-0-1 mark. And then, with the strike players added, those are the marks today. In San Diego, we understand, leading right now.
28-0 over Kansas City.
That makes this game so important right now to both of these teams.
They spotted the 29. Hilger's pass is complete. And for Hilger, that is only his second completion of the first half. He has now completed 2 of 3, and he's been sacked 3 times.
Now they're breaking down in coverage in there. And Rusty is, I talked to Jim Plunkett, and I said, how's Rusty doing? He said, well, he's got the outside confidence. What he's working on now is that interior confidence, that feeling of, I know I can do it. And it's a confidence that doesn't have to just come from him. It's got to be earned from his teammates, from the guys he's throwing the ball to, and those that are protecting him.
He did not show it in the first half of the Green Bay game. Over the middle now, he's 2 for 2 in this drive. So maybe it will surface at this moment, and the Raiders need him right now as we are at the 2-minute warning. A gain of 14 yards to Todd Christensen. Does Hilger have the hot hand? We'll find out.
Stinks for getting open than Todd Christensen.
First down at the Seattle 48-yard line. Raiders with all 3 timeouts remaining. Trailing 21-0. Little play action fake that doesn't fool anybody. Hilger throws. Christensen has it at the 34-yard line. And he was not touched down. His advance will go to the 31. And that was Brian Bosworth, but it goes for a gain of 17.
Very often that matchup with Todd Christensen, number 46, will find him against Kenny Easley. Easley favoring a sore shoulder. They're a little bit late on that play, and you notice Rusty rolling away from those 2 rookies on the right side of that line to get a little more time.
Hurry up offense. And Hilger escapes the sack, and the pass is incomplete. He was never in the grasp or control, but he was almost.
Now that's the kind of thing they want Rusty to be able to do. To be successful in reading and feeling his way through that rush. 77, Jeff Bryant had a good shot at him there. In fact, had 2 shots at him. Rusty got out of there. Terry Taylor, number 20, makes a good play in knocking that ball away from number 86, Mervin Fernandez.
Mark Moore, number 35, defensive back for Seattle, has a pulled hamstring, and he will not return. And it's second down and 10. Allen in motion. Deep into double coverage, overthrowing. Fernandez, a flag drop back at the 42-yard line.
We talked about bad choices just a moment ago. Freddie Young in on the blitz, roughing the quarterback. Dumb play. Here he is right at the end of that play, and the ball long gone. Freddie took the shot. Hilger just threw that ball away. Should have been intercepted if they could have gotten up to pick it up. Eugene Robinson, the man who stretched for it. Now wait a minute.
I believe the call is going to go against the Raiders.
Maybe it's a holding call. Looked like a shot from Freddie Young. Well, I'm sorry, Freddie. I'm going to apologize here.
Personal foul, face mask, number 35 offense, still second down.
That's Steve Smith, the fullback.
Well, it was obviously at the end of the play as Freddie was, well, we don't have it to show to you, but it looked to me like he may have ended up whacking into Hilger. But what they're saying is that he was getting jerked around by the face mask, couldn't really control his momentum. I apologize, Freddie.
Kansas City has scored, so it's 28-7 Chargers. The Giants leading St. Louis 17-0.
Long yardage.
26 to be exact. Second and 26. Hilger has pressure, and it is incomplete. Going to Todd Christensen.
Got to be careful you don't go to the well too often.
Easily
back off to the side a moment ago with a sore shoulder. Is late getting off the ground here, favoring that shoulder again.
And Jeff Bryant was putting the pressure on Rusty Hilger.
They're doing a lot of stunning, and again, when you get a couple of rookies in that lineup, the toughest thing you can do is to throw. You notice easily, I think they're saying we got to get him off the side.
It's an injury timeout. Will not be charged to either team.
And it would appear that maybe he got poked in the eye. Maybe it's not a shoulder after all. They are working on his eye on the sideline. It's his own player, Jeff Bryant.
Yes.
And it happens so often, Charlie. Your own players often hurt you worse than the other team.
Third, what do you say to him? Thanks, friend?
Yeah, right. Sacked again.
It is intercepted. It is Freddie Young.
Touchdown. No.
Hurry, Freddie. Here to be caught. He makes it 50 yards. You got to love it.
You gotta learn when to eat that football, Rusty. Sometimes it just doesn't pay to turn loose of it. Let's go back and look at the play. Under tremendous heat, Jeff Bryant from the outside again beating those rookies. That ball should never have been thrown. It's just thrown up for grabs. Now watch some good moves there by Freddie Young. Looks like a running back. John Clay, 79, is after him. Wilkerson, the other rookie, and they.
Steve Smith was closing on.
I'll tell you, I wondered who that last guy was. Smith's got some speed, and Fred Young ran right away from him. Easily heading into the locker room, by the way.
Norm Johnson with the point after it is good, and it is Seattle 28, Los Angeles nothing. And for Fred Young, that is his. We're checking his touchdown record to see if that is his first.
Still checking. Well, he's a happy young man on the sideline. I'll tell you, he has had a couple of brilliant games back to full speed here today. And Charlie, the thing that I sense in this game is a real shifting and maybe some long-range momentum for these two teams. A Raider offense that has simply been stalled at 0 under Rusty Hilger. And one has to wonder, maybe.
We may not see him now because it's a 28-0 ball game, so the Raiders got to come out throwing.
Well, I think they need to give him some work, Charlie. No matter what the score is, they want him to be a part of their plan. He wants to play, too. He doesn't want to talk a lot, but he wants to play football, and he wants to talk with his actions on the field. Kind of hard when you're not getting a chance.
That's what I asked him yesterday. Did he have a minute? He said no. That was it. He said no to you, but it took a little longer. Didn't it?
Much more to me, Charlie.
According to what we've been able to discover, this is not official. That is Fred Young's first NFL touchdown. But we want to make sure if that's official or not. We're still checking that. Doki Williams downs the ball in the end zone. And we've got fights. A pushing and shoving contest is probably a better description of the 20-yard line.
That's
flags are down.
Tony Burris, a young rookie who is really a hammer. Part of that action. 52, Lyndon King, linebacker for the Raiders. There's Burris. Preseason, they carried him off on a stretcher. Really looked bad. He was back at practice the next day. He's tough. Be left side of your screen if we can pick it up. Well, I think that's Burris just flat running over somebody there. And then looked like Jamie Kimmel, 59, coming in to try and clean up on him. Boy, he went right over the top of one of the Raiders.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 34, kicking team. Personal foul.
You know what happens? They missed the first one, they caught the second. That happens all the time.
Well, it does happen, and I'm sure they'll just say to him, look, you've got to have some maturity. You've got to know that when you're out in the open like that, even if somebody takes a cheap shot at you, you don't retaliate.
And it is Freddie Young's first NFL television.
Yeah. As many big plays as he has made over the last
4 years.
3 years, 4 years. Of course, most of the first 2 years on special teams.
So he'll save that football. Hilger opens with play action from the 20. Irvin Fernandez just leans across the 30-yard line. He should have the first down. Paul Moyer making the tackle. Talked to Fernandez yesterday. The difference in playing in the Canadian League and playing here, he said, I was the whole offense. I was in on every play. He said that and the intensity entirely different here.
Swervin' Mervin.
Yes.
Great player. Here is something that certainly I feel has contributed to the Raiders' problems today. That's Fernandez's quote on what the strike did. He said our continuity, remember they were 2-0, obtained in those first 2 games all through the preseason, was shattered by the strike. So his feeling was definitely that the lack of unity on this Raider team would have an effect.
Kansas City 35-7.
I'll tell you, San Diego got my vote as the best of the strike-breaking teams.
They got the Western vote. I think that the Redskins got all the Eastern votes. Christensen holds on to it at the 45-yard line. A gain of 15. First down. Patrick Hunter rolls him over. 30 seconds and counting. And now the Raiders will stop the clock.
Very obvious from what's happened the last few minutes that Rusty beginning to lean heavily on one receiver, Todd Christensen. That is dangerous here. How many? 2, 4, 6, 7 defensive, no, 6 defensive backs on the field, Charlie.
And Marcus Allen goes in motion. And a screen right side to Vance Mueller.
Greg Gaines, the lone linebacker, number 56 for the Seahawks, beautifully read on that play as he dropped back, read the screen, came all the way outside and made a sure tackle in the open field. Rusty drilling it into the ground to kill the clock.
We may have been wrong. They may not have had a timeout remaining, or they surely would have taken it there. That's a legal play. That's a rule change. If you step back and drill it into the ground for the purpose of stopping the clock, then it's okay.
If Kansas, you don't wait around to do it.
Yeah. Kansas City has come back with a score. Kenny with a 63-yard touchdown pass. Minute 7 to go in the first half of that game. Is 35-14.
Well, I said it before the first quarter, Charlie. I think this strike hurt a player like Rusty Hilger as much as it could hurt any player in the league. Just kind of getting some continuity as a quarterback for this Raider team. Had to sit it out for 2 weeks. And then he was one of the players that went back in. Some bad feelings on that count, too.
Miscommunications. They did have that timeout remaining. Overloading the right side. Just go deep. Put it in the air. Christensen's right in the middle of it. It ends up as an incomplete pass as Terry Taylor went up for it. Christensen was one of the intended receivers, and it's 28-0 at halftime. Seattle. I'm surprised.
Yes, I do. It was the only one.
But tell me about it.
Picked it up in Green Bay and took it in against Green Bay here in the Coliseum. Took it in 24 yards TD.
Just like yesterday. This kickoff is sponsored by Budweiser, the king of beers. Chris Barr kicking off with Randall Morris and Bobby Joe Edmonds sent for the return. And this is the first Raider kickoff of the afternoon. And Edmonds will down it in the end zone and will start the second half from the 20-yard line. And let's look at the statistics in the first half.
Rushing yardage, as you would believe, favoring the Seahawks, have been able to run the ball effectively. The Raiders really have had to throw the football. They haven't had much going at all. Passing yardage not as one-sided as you would expect, nor as total yardage.
But look
at that third down conversion rate. 9 of 10 for Seattle, and they've done that with an average to go of 7.5 yards. So they're not just short yardage. 0 for 5 for Hilger and the Raiders.
I don't think you can do 9 of 10 in a dummy scrimmage. Somebody falls down sometime.
And I'll say something about the defense, too.
Howie Long. Now, that's a couple of times that he's made a mistake. What's causing that?
He wants to make something happen. He's looking to make something happen, and sometimes you try and do too much. Sometimes you just try and do too much. Charlie, I talked to Chris Barr. He said last week, playing with the replacement players he was in, he said it was like playing in college. There was a halftime pep talk and everything. I gotta believe there was a halftime pep talk today, too.
And not necessarily in the same vein.
Well, and some of those words might have been different, too.
First down and 5 from the 25. John L. Williams just shy of the first down. We'll spot it at the 29. Sean Jones with the tackle.
This
and it's
Seattle,
second one.
Charlie, this Seattle team has really improved itself in the running game. John L. Williams is one of the reasons. You can't just gang up on Kurt Warner because Williams can carry that football right up the middle. He's also a great blocker.
He'll knock you down if you gang up on him.
You bet. And they've also been able to put together a very big and strong offensive line, and they did it really without drafting those people. They've been able to do it in trades and so forth. Ooh, good hit.
Warner has the first down at the 31.
Watching from behind, you got a feeling for how quickly Kurt Warner can cut. He just has a great flow and feel. He was nailed pretty good on that last play. Look at his shoulder. We mentioned he injured his shoulders earlier. Watch him now cut back against the grain here. That's Matt Millen, number 55, and Reggie McKenzie, number 54. Really put the hooks on him there.
There's Kurt Warner. That slashing style not as effective again on grass as it is on AstroTurf. Swing pass right side is John L. Williams. And you're right. Seattle is playing as if it's mid-season, that they were not off for 3 or 4 weeks, and they just continue right on. In addition, they're all healthy and eager.
Charlie, this relationship between these two teams has been kind of interesting. For the last 4 years, as we mentioned, they've split home and home, and some of those games have been very, very one-sided. In fact, the last game in Seattle last year, a 37-0 thumping of these Raiders. They were sacked 11 times in that game. They were embarrassed in that game. Now, I think they expected to continue to dominate on their home turf. Not happening.
15 yards on the last play to the 46-yard line is where they will officially mark it. Largent showing a little motion in case you joined us late. Yes, he has a couple of receptions. So his streak continues as Kurt Warner continues out to the 49-yard line. Gain of 3. It'll be second down and 7. And the other thing that Seattle did at the beginning of the first half that they are starting to do here is a conservative offense that uses up a lot of the clock, keeps the Raider defense on the field, keeps their offense off the field, and
Knox favors that anyway, Charlie.
Yeah, that's what he likes to do.
He can control the football game, running the football. He started as an offensive line coach. His thinking begins at the line of scrimmage. And he's right down there in the trenches with you. Oh, fumble.
Howie Long goes after it. He bobbles it.
The Raiders get it, though.
Yes, they have it. I believe it is Rod Martin, number 53. Yeah,
it is, Charlie. Rod Martin there. Howie Long, his second time today that he has massacred Krieg and forced a fumble. The Seahawks got it back the first time. Sean Jones. Oh, I take it back. It's number 99. Sean Jones in from the right-hand side. Howie's there to pounce on the football. Gets away from him. Actually, he and Rod Martin shared it. Here's Howie coming in at the end of that. Boy, he got a face full of ham from Moon Pie Wilson. Krieg right on his back, and that's the kind of play that these Raiders need to get themselves jacked up emotionally.
And Mark Wilson is the quarterback. And he is on target to Lofton at the 10.
Can Mark Wilson believe what he's hearing?
They're cheering for him.
Well, the Raiders had to make some changes. And Charlie, I got to tell you, emotionally, it's a phenomenon that I never understood. You put a second quarterback in the game, and it's like automatic. There's a letdown on the defense.
25 yards on the play to the 8-yard line. First down, goal to go Raiders, trying to capitalize on the fumble recovery. Incomplete. Fernandez, the intended receiver. Robinson and Taylor had the cover.
In the practice yesterday, Charlie, Wilson split time with Hilger. I asked Tom Flores, does that mean anything? He said no. Ordinarily, we split time between the two quarterbacks the day before the game. Earlier in the week, Hilger had taken about 70% of the snaps. Wilson only about 30%. He might be a little rusty.
That's not a play on words either. Second down, goal to go. Marcus Allen to the 7. Ryan Bosworth makes the tackle. Kenny Easley, number 45, excuse me. Mark Wilson, that's for the year. 10 of 18, 122 yards. That includes today.
A lot of that came, Charlie, in the second half of that Green Bay game. He came in to bail Rusty Hilger out in that game.
And that was, if there's the term winning ugly, the Raiders won ugly in that game against Green Bay. They did not look good at all.
Charlie, if they could win this one ugly, they'd be sure.
They'll take it anyway. Now, we'll put makeup on afterwards. Third down, goal to go. Here's pressure. Wobbly pass, Christensen, touchdown.
The experienced quarterback, an all-out blitz. Christensen read it. Wilson got him the football, and you see the instant rapport there. Hey, I read it, you got it there, and a smile. What a sweet moment for this man who has been so abused by these Coliseum fans. Watch the toss there at the last possible second, and it's a Raider touchdown.
Wilson will hold. Chris Barr will attempt the extra point. And they hooked it, and a flag is down. It did go through the uprights, but there were 2 markers down, so hold it just a second.
On the field, defense. The extra point is good. 5 yards.
The touchdown for the Raiders scored by this man, Todd Christensen. Their first touchdown against the Seattle Seahawks in 8 periods, plus 3 minutes and 59 seconds. You have to go back to the first half of the game, October the 12th, a year ago.
Mark Wilson, one of those players that crossed the line, in fact, very early across the line, but they have played for him with some emotion that was not there for Rusty Hilger.
But in the replacement games, he only held for extra points and field goals. He did not play on any other plays. Bobby Joe Edmonds and Randall Morris will down it in the end zone and will bring it out to the 20-yard line. So the Seattle Seahawks did the one thing they could not afford to do. That was make a mistake. And it took the Raiders only 1 minute and 38 seconds to capitalize on it. And now they're not back in the ball game, but they're getting closer to the door. Last 9-4.
Of course, we're looking, back to that last game last year that we told you there was a 37-0 blowout. You can't count all those points. The only thing that matters is what happens right now, Charlie.
And here's John L. Williams.
And Chuck over on the side talking to his offensive coordinator, Steve Moore, and he's saying, hit him right up the middle. Go after him. Let's be physical with him. You don't want to get conservative. That's Steve Moore on the right-hand side, right next to Chuck. And it's interesting, when Knox changes a call, it's going to be a run and play.
Jerry Robinson with the last tackle. Gain of 6, second down 4, 26-yard line. This time Williams will be stopped at the line of scrimmage. It's going to be 3rd down and 4. And so Seattle will come out throwing, yes.
Charlie, very, very important too. Now that you've gotten some momentum, talking about the Raiders side of the field, you've gotten a little momentum offensively. You've got to take that football back right now. We're not just talking about the outcome of this game. We're talking about the way they feel about themselves, their image, their confidence level, which they carry out of this game. To continue the way they played in the first half would have been disastrous for them.
Seattle they've been living on 3rd down conversions, and as Merlin said, they have averaged the yardage on those is average 7.5 yards. This is 4 yards from the shotgun. Krieg throws, has the first down. He goes to Steve Largent, and Largent goes to the 36-yard line. They needed 4, they got 10, and the magic of 3rd down continues. Lionel Washington with the tackle.
Largent and Krieg have worked so well together over the years that Krieg knows where Largent is going to be. There's a lot of time here. Krieg takes all of it, and Largent breaks out of his pattern to get open, working on Lionel Washington, number 48, knows exactly how much yardage is needed, and picks it up again on the critical 3rd down.
4 for 48 yards. I'll talk about both of those numbers in a moment. First down at the Seattle 36. Kurt Warner.
A much more emotional Raider team here in the second half.
Millen and Martin with the tackle. Let's go back to Steve Largent. He has 4 for 48 yards. He is the all-time NFL yardage leader. It's now 1,200 yards plus. That's almost 7 miles in reception for Steve Largent.
I'm gonna get my bike to go that far, Charlie.
Only if it's downhill. Here's John L. Williams. Flag down. Was it a face mask?
Well, it might have been that. Might have been a holding call on Kurt Warner, number 28, who was blocking for him.
Rod Martin makes the play for the Raiders.
Yeah, I believe they got Warner for holding on that last play. Warner knows. Wow, Warner doesn't believe it was holding, does he?
They'll refuse it. It'll be third down about 14.
Well, you can see for yourself.
Bailey says, let's go. Come on, get back in the huddle.
You're not going to win this battle. Kurt Warner out in front here, trying to. Well, I can see why he didn't buy it. It was on Rod Martin. He didn't grab him and tackle him. He tried.
He didn't block him very well either.
No, not only didn't block him, but didn't hold him either, didn't appear to me. And Warner, now look at those eyes. He'll get you fired up a little bit. And that's what they need right now, Charlie, a little emotion.
And notice his eyes. Remember that shot of his eyes. And you'll see the eyes of Marcus Allen. They have that same eyes. They're almost a Popeye look with that great vision.
You've got to have that great vision to run the ball the way they do. That's right.
Third down and 14, a 4-man rush. Krieg goes deep. His receiver slips. It's intercepted. Van McElroy has the interception. Largent slipped when he made his cut.
On the artificial turf that this team plays on so many times during the year, Largent makes the cut, maintains his balance, and if he doesn't catch it, at least knocks it away.
And we've got a timeout. The Raiders have the ball, and they have momentum. We'll be back.
To a Raider score, and now a second critical error. Watch Largent as he breaks out and then breaks up. Right here, it's the second break that he loses his feet. Van McElroy, number 26, alertly picks up that football. Mark Wilson now has his second opportunity. Let's see what happens here. See what the Seattle defense is up to.
Raiders at their own 45-yard line. Wilson gives to the second back. That's Marcus Allen. A couple of yards to the 47. It'll be second down and 8. And Kenny Easley's bad shoulder and all is there. Third quarter, 35-14. San Diego in front of Kansas City. The Giants going for their first win of the season, shutting out St. Louis thus far. Headliners, Buffalo in overtime. The numbers on Kelly and the numbers on Marino. Marino with 4 touchdown passes, both throwing over 300 yards.
Wow.
And for Green Bay, leading the Packers over Detroit 34-33. And here it's Seattle 28, the Raiders 7, and on the comeback trail, pass is complete to Christensen at the 33-yard line. 20 yards on the play, first down. Robinson and Hunter with the tackle. Todd Christensen, that is his 5th reception of the ball game.
These Raiders may not particularly like Mark Wilson, but they have to like what he's doing for them here. A BYU quarterback to a BYU tight end. Another big play in Christensen and Wilson really joining forces to bring the Raiders back in this game.
From the 33, pump fake, drops it off to Marcus Allen. He's amazing. There was no yardage there, and he still got 2 more.
Silky the way he makes those cuts, Charlie. But the other thing that you sense from here is how the confidence level of this offense has changed under the leadership of Mark Wilson, which is interesting.
Yes, it is, because you don't expect to see that.
No, you don't. I think it's an illustration of how incomplete Rusty Hilger's preparation is as a quarterback at this point in his career.
Wilson has completed 4 of 5, 56 yards and a touchdown. Second down, the market officially second down and 5. And Marcus Allen's going to lose a couple of yards. Joe Nash brings him down. Winning, of course, solves all problems.
This is important to this Raider team as getting some points on the board and changing the momentum of what we've seen in the first half of this game.
Because like you said earlier, Seattle playing like there wasn't a break at all. 3rd down and 7. Wilson throws. Oh, it is dropped. Almost intercepted. He threw right to Kenny Easley. Easley, the only player that was open and was surprised.
And again, concerned, one of the things that Mark Wilson has been criticized for is coming back and making the obvious error. He did not see Kenny Easley. I got to tell you, Charlie, I think partly because he has not taken the reps. He hasn't had a chance to read the defenses that much in the last few weeks. You see how angry he is. He's lucky they got away without the interception there.
48-yard field goal attempt by Chris Barr with Wilson holding. No good. So Chris Barr misses from 48 yards away. We'll take another look. No, he stayed firm on the plant.
Right in the same spot he missed a 37-yarder last week, Charlie.
Charlie Sumner, the Raiders linebackers coach.
He's also the man who calls the defenses. His job right now, and he does have a veteran defensive team, they're thinking takeaway. They're thinking pressure at this point in the game.
And in the second half, a fumble recovery that officially went to Howie Long, and the interception by McElroy. And here's Kurt Warner. Rod Martin makes the tackle.
Chuck Knox is not nearly as comfortable now as he was at 28-0, but his philosophy has not changed, Charlie. If he can run the football, and he'll try, that's what they'll do. They still want to eat that clock.
And it's 2nd down and 5. And speaking of the clock, we have 4 minutes and 20 seconds. That is the time remaining here in the 3rd quarter. Mike Tice, the tight end, goes to the opposite side, so the formation set is strong right. They come back running to the weak side, which is Kurt Warner to the 40, close to the first down. Needs to just get past the 40-yard line. Howie Long with the tackle. And also there's Bill Pickel. May not quite make it. No, it'll be 3rd down and short. When you were playing, did they send in as many defensive signals as they do now?
Charlie, it's one of the things I missed. The defenses were all called on the field while I was there, not sent in at all.
Over the top and the first down. That's all. Warner just needed about half a yard and he got it.
In fact, I can remember when it was unusual. In fact, Paul Brown was the only coach for a long time who sent the plays in from the sideline, and then gradually coaches began to call the plays. I thought it was great when you had a quarterback and a defensive quarterback calling plays, standing sometimes looking each other in the eye, calling an audible on offense, calling an audible on defense, changing the audible on offense, changing the audible on defense, and eventually running out of time.
Chick Harris at the cap signaling in the offensive plays for the Seattle Seahawks.
Steve Moore right behind him making the call.
First down. Seattle at their own 42-yard line, leading 28-7. 3 minutes to go in the 3rd.
Whoa.
And John L. Williams slipped as he tried to make his cut, and Howie Long was there to cover him.
Now that's a point worth making again. I said it earlier, Charlie, but these Seahawks only play 2 games this year. Ordinarily it would be 3 games on the natural turf. Denver, Los Angeles, and San Diego within their division all have natural turf. They missed the San Diego game this year.
That's right.
That's the game they missed. There'll be 2 games. You saw what happened here. They're so used to playing on the natural or on the artificial turf that they very often have seemed to adapt a style that is really not that conducive. Even though they practice on natural turf, they play with a style that's conducive to the artificial turf.
Here's Warner cutting back. 43-yard line. Going to be 3rd down and 9.
One of the things you need when you're behind in a game, aside from the confidence that you know you can come back, is individual leadership from the players. Howie Long is one of those players. Number 75, you saw him coming across with number 30, Stacy Turan, to get in on that last play. Howie's a quiet leader. He's not a big, loud yell and whistle guy. Also, the guy, by the way, who crossed the line and went in did not play that well in the game against Denver, and relatively quiet in last week's game as well. Oh, great catch.
Close to the first down. Seattle may have done it again as Largent pulls in, and by Dunnigan converting on a third down opportunity.
I think you're short of it, Charlie, just a fraction. But what a great catch by Largent. If that ball had been thrown on his front shoulder instead of his back shoulder, he would have had the first down. But he had to go back for the football, slowed him. The attempt to kick out of bounds here. They want a man over there in case it's kicked short. Pooch up high, and I believe it'll go into the end zone.
Ruben Rodriguez.
No.
It's going to be touchdown at the 1-yard line. No, they're going to rule a touchback. The first man down had his feet in the end zone when he reached back and touched it, and by the extension of his body, that means it was touched in the end zone.
Rusty Tillman is going to have a little conversation with his troops on that one. A perfect kick, an opportunity to have it on the 1, but they blew it. Into the goal line with it. Now watch it again as his feet go in, and at that point it is a touchback. But you saw all they had to do was let the ball lie, leave it alone, and it starts on the 1-yard line.
So we bring it out with the touchback to the 20. Wilson, little play action fake. He goes deep, has a man. It is intercepted. Kenny Easley with the interception. Easley then wants the shoulders bothering me. I can't return. He wanted a lateral back to Eugene Robinson. Jesse Hester was the intended receiver.
Again, experience there as Easley just was not fooled. And this is a situation where you expect people to be coming with that pass. You don't really get a lot of benefit from that play action fake. And you definitely were right about Easley as he is protecting that arm. I think he may have hurt himself when he went up to intercept that ball, Charlie. But nice interception by the veteran captain of that defense. Here, anybody. You take. No, never. Well, I'll get out of bounds.
Yes. I'll get out before they hit me.
Shoulder definitely bothering him. You see the grimace there. But he is thrilled, I'm sure, with that play that turns the emotion in this game one more time.
So Seattle has the ball at the Los Angeles 44. And there's a mix-up in the backfield. And a loss of 5 as Rod Martin is there to bring Dave Krieg to the ground. Going to be second down and 15. Let's check all the scores. A lot of close ball games. Washington over the Jets by 1. Chicago over Tampa Bay by 1. San Francisco over New Orleans by 2. Pittsburgh over Cincinnati by 3. Philadelphia big over Dallas. Indianapolis big over New England in overtime. Buffalo over Miami. Houston by 4 over Atlanta. Green Bay by 1 over Detroit. In the third quarter, Kansas City is coming back. Christian Okoye just scoring 35-21 there and 20-0 in the other ball game. And here it is Seattle 28 and the Raiders 7 as the pass is complete to Ray Butler, who scored a touchdown earlier in the ball game. Mike Haynes is there for the defense. And with that play, we run out of time in the third period. That is the end of the third quarter. The score is Seattle 28, Raiders 7, and we'll be right back after these messages from your local station. Third down and 10 at the Seahawks at the Raider 43-yard line. Krieg steps away from trouble and finds more of it. They're going to call grasp and control. They're going to blow the play dead back at the 43-yard line. And that's Greg Townsend, I believe.
Mattis and Townsend, and some comments verbally going back and forth. I don't think they're going to call it because I think there was just an attempt to separate those guys.
Except with the grip.
Townsend may have done a little taunting there. You'll see it coming from the left-hand side. Lots and lots of pressure. They grab him here at one point. Sean Jones, 99, gets a hold of him. 93 Townsend finally has him. He did complete the pass, but he was definitely in control and grasp of the defensive man before it happened.
He completed it to Paul Scansey. It does not count. And Ruben Rodriguez will be kicking to Ron Fellows.
Got a good kick. There'll be a return possibility on it.
From the 21 to the 25 to the 30. to the 37-yard line. 16 yards on the return, a kick of only 35 yards. Greg Gaines with the tackle. Seahawks lead it 28-7. We'll be back in a moment. The Raiders have the ball. Day when you could see the Hollywood sign for the Coliseum.
You better believe that.
And we have a holdup in the game, and it's on the near sideline. The chain has been broken, the 10-yard chain.
Where's that bailing wire when you need it?
That's right. Some things are never there. And a man who has never been there thus far that we expected to see is number 34 for the Raiders, Bo Jackson.
He's gotten back to his, well, he spent a lot of the time sitting on the bench. He's up on the sideline now, Charlie, and I got to wonder why we haven't seen him. I think they've got to give him a chance to play. When they activated him, I really expected that we would see him get at least a little bit of action, get a feeling for taking a few shots in the game itself.
I mentioned earlier that when I talked to him after practice yesterday, I talked, he didn't. He just said no and walked away. You visited with him with a little, but he didn't say a lot, but you relate to that.
Well, I admire what he's doing, Charlie, because I think what he's saying is, I want to play. I want to do something before I brag about what I'm going to do. Give me a chance to do it on the field, and then ask me about it.
Well received by the other players. Made a diving reception in practice this week. They said, hey, he doesn't have to do that, but he's doing it. Mark Wilson back to throw. The chain has been fixed. The game goes on. Doki Williams to the 46-yard line. So it's going to be second down to cover. There's Tom Catlin. Started back with the Dallas Texans in 1960, coaching in the pros. Great two-time All-America at the University of Oklahoma.
Also coached for a long time in Los Angeles. Ram defensive coach, Buffalo defensive coordinator. You saw a very subtle signal going in there. Catlin will signal in all of those defenses. Very, very fine defensive coach.
Vance Mueller, a name that we have not called that often today. The ball carried. Greg Gaines with the tackle. Seattle 44-yard line. Time of possession.
There are 7 drives on the day by the Seahawks, and each of them has averaged about 4.01 in length. So they've been controlling the ball in long spurts. The Raiders, meanwhile, have made a lot of mistakes on the day. Those third down conversions, Charlie.
Yes, Raiders have not been able to convert. Wide open is Todd Christensen. A flag down back at the 48-yard line.
I think it's a penalty on Greg Gaines for roughing on this one. Yeah, there it is. You got to lay off of that quarterback. And, of course, with the big gain, you tack 15 on the other end.
Onto the end, you bet.
You don't want to help a team come back when they're behind.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, roughing the passer, number 56 defense.
On Greg Gaines, and the ball goes to the 14-yard line.
Well, Chuck has thrown his hat. Chuck has been known to chew on those officials a little on the sideline. In fact, I think they'd much rather work in front of the Raider bench than in front of Chuck.
Do you know who got on officials as much as anybody? That's Paul Brown, the legendary coach. He'd work the sideline, and he'd talk to him very quiet, but he'd set him up and say, now to throw a flag.
Also, Hallis was tough.
Was he got it up?
Oh, you bet.
14-yard line, first down. Wilson, incomplete. James Lofton, the intended receiver, is just a little bit too tall. Or the Raiders would have been within 14.
Mark Wilson's height an advantage here as he throws over outstretched hands of Joe Nash, 72. That ball skied a little bit, just took off a little on him.
And he got behind Patrick Hunter, and Eugene Robinson was coming over to help. Second and 10 at the 14. Wilson scrambles right, has all the time, throws in zone, touchdown. Doki Williams, the man who wants to be traded to San Diego so he can go home to Oceanside.
There's a gallows humor in the locker room. The Raiders put that article up, said Doki wants to be traded home to San Diego, and then they scrawl on the side of it in pencil, but I would be happy for $1.1 million. Well, it looks like $1 million to these Raiders here as they get a touchdown. Watch the patience of Mark Wilson. I don't know if Hilger would have stopped. I think Rusty might have run it in this situation. He waits, he waits, he waits, and it pays off with a touchdown. They're getting one of the linemen off. Charlie Hanna, number 73, being helped off the field. They've got a lot of injured. They got 8 offensive linemen on injured reserve. That's not a good sign for these Raiders.
Extra point is blocked. The extra point is blocked. So rather than being within 14, they are within 15 points. And Barr comes up limping.
I think he caught the helmet right on that kicking leg. Now that's his left leg that he's laying off on. You see the sock is down. It looked like Joe Nash, number 72, driving in from the inside. Yes, it is 72, and I think he hits right into that plant leg of Chris Barr. Watch him right here as he gets that plant leg down. Came in from behind. It looked like he may be all right.
So Joe Nash with a key play.
Now they're asking Barr, I'm sure, can you kick this off? Do you want to kick this ball off? He's got to go out there right now and kick it off. You see him flexing that leg? Terry Robisky there along with Tom Flores bouncing around on that leg.
And for Joe Nash, hey, that's just business as usual. That is the 5th time that he has blocked a kick.
Some people just have a knack for sliding in there and getting their hands or their body in front of those kicks.
Did you have that knack?
Well, no, Charlie, I wasn't great at that. I blocked a few, but I wasn't a great one. I was the guy that made room for the guy that blocked it. I was better at jerking people out of there and opening holes for somebody.
Well, somebody has to serve up the dinner for somebody else to eat, you know.
Yeah.
And Chris Barr is going to kick off.
You may see him squib this one, Charlie.
Yes.
I think it might be a good choice for him rather than trying to hammer it. He might hurt himself.
A lot of time left. 12:48.
He hammers it, but not well.
Taken at the 12-yard line by Bobby Joe Edmonds. He's out to the 20, 25 to about the 27-yard line. Just a couple of steps away from breaking it for a great return as Barr comes limping off. Lyndon King with the time. Declare your winners. Let them automatically make the playoffs. Then you play the second half of the season. If they make it again, they would get a first-round bye, and then you go into a regular playoff formation. Here's Kurt Warner. Now what is your opinion?
Charlie, I don't like it. I think it makes a joke out of the season. It's not something I'd like to see. I think you ought to reward the teams that handle the strike situation well. And I think by splitting the season, you send a message all across the country that, hey, we're going to do anything we want to suit ourselves in this situation. You know, you got teams out there like the Giants, like Indianapolis, like Houston, some who did not fare well in the strike, who would love to vote for this, but I don't think they'll get 21 votes.
Here's Kurt Warner again. But the teams that helped themselves did well in the strike would then, in all probability, make the playoffs from the first half. And I think the message has already gone out for the national.
About next Tuesday in Kansas City when the NFL owners get together is what they're going to do with roster sizes. There's talk about bringing back the old taxi squads.
First down at the 29-yard line. Here's Kurt Warner again, and the flag is down. What do you think about roster size?
Well, right now they've gone from, it's ridiculous at the moment. It's 45 on the active and 40 on the sideline.
Yeah.
Of course, these teams don't have anywhere near that. Next week they've got to be down to 45 and 10 and declare their 45. And they're talking about maybe 45 and 5, a 5-man or maybe a 7-man taxi squad.
Still working on Chris Barr.
Trainer George Anderson, they're taping him up. I'll tell you, that's a scary kind of thing, though. You don't know what kind of damage you've done to a leg, and going right back and kicking like he did.
Number 70 offense, still first down.
Penalty against Seattle. Illegal use of hands.
Remember at the beginning of the telecast, our first shot when we looked at the crowd here, a game of this magnitude at this time of the season, you would expect 90,000. They hoped to have 60, didn't quite make it. 52,735, 52,735, with 6,275 no-shows. Here's Kurt Warner. No question now that Seattle just working at the clock. 10:43. They're 2 touchdowns and a point up on the That block extra point looming very large in the strategy of Seattle right now.
Well, Knox will bleed that clock anyway. He told us in his first replacement game up in Seattle, he said he had three things to work with in that game: the clock, the punter, and the field goal kicker. And I'll tell you, he stole one out of the pocket of Don Shula. I don't know how they ever won that football game, but they won it. And Knox will play that field position game with you.
Kurt Warner, 26 carries, 95 yards. Howie Long chase you past it. John L. never had possession. John L. Williams bobbled it and just couldn't pull it in, and just chased it in futility.
Good pressure. Howie Long again. Coming right side of your screen. Townsend knocked away, but Long has the kind of speed that's hard for quarterbacks to get away from. Good try on this play, but the eyes came off of the ball to look at the defense. That was a costly mistake.
That was a pretty good pass by Krieg. In that situation, Long going by in front of him, steps back, has the read, and it's a catchable ball.
Yeah, those are the kind, though, that Charlie all too often are bounced around and hung up for the defense.
That's true. There's a sidearm throw to Darrell Turner. Turner reverses. 41-yard line. He'll still come up 7 or 8, maybe 9 short of the first down. The bearded quarterback, Dave Krieg, says hello to Sean Jones. Heads for the sideline as Ruben Rodriguez will come in to kick.
Raiders need to make something happen here. Got to wonder maybe if they won't pull off and send somebody trying to block this kick. They got Townsend in earlier in this game. Very close to being able to block one then. Rodriguez has only had to kick it 3 times today. Let's see if they do come after it.
Ron Fellows on Saturday's practice wearing his glasses. During the game, of course, wears contact lenses, and he needs them. He's very nearsighted. Oh, hangs this one up.
Good hang time on this kick.
Fair catch taken at the 14-yard line. 4.7 seconds. The hang time on a 45-yard kick. We've got a timeout. Seattle has the lead. We'll be back. One big change, and that concerns the dues checkoff.
Well, the owners have said that they'll operate under the collective bargaining agreement, except for one thing. They will not honor the dues checkup, which means that the players would check off. They would automatically send a portion of their salary to the NFLPA. That's not going to happen now. It means the NFLPA has to collect from every player. A lot of these players are not going to be willing to send that check.
And that is the NFL Player Association. We'll talk more about that after this play. Mark Wilson back to throw. The pass is complete to Lofton. He heads for the sideline. So with 8:52 left to the ball game, both ball clubs using the clock. Merlin?
James Lofton, by the way, is a member of the NFLPA executive board, and I asked him, I said, is there any way to make the players pay those dues? He said no.
That's the NFL Players Association.
NFL Players
That's
Association, and there are no teeth anywhere for them to go after the players and make them pay it. They still share all the benefits. It's an awful situation. I think it may be a disastrous one for the Players Association.
Mark Wilson to throw. And it's incomplete. Todd Christensen, the intended receiver. Greg Gaines was there for the. Christensen thought that the defender got there a little too soon.
A few folks here in the crowd who agree with Todd. Greg Gaines man-to-man.
That's legal to that point.
That's legal to that point. Well, the question is, did he wrap around? He went up underneath. He was pretty smooth about it, I'll tell you that.
Does not come in the venue of the instant replay official, so play discontinued.
That's not one to worry about. No. Charlie, just as a final tack to that, the players are so badly beaten up in this strike that I can't help but wonder if maybe the owners didn't take it a step too far. They may have actually destroyed the union.
But they can't afford to destroy the union. They have to have a players' union. Here's Wilson, and he is in the grasp and control. Jeff Bryant with his second sack of the ball game. And the 4th for Seattle.
What you say is absolutely true, because without a collective bargaining agreement, the draft is illegal.
That's right.
The free agency system is illegal. As you watch Jeff Bryant again working on the rookie right side of that line. Wilkerson, the guard, trying to look after Bryant, has not had much luck today. And Charlie, the other thing I think that will not be forgotten by these players, when they decided they would come back and the owner said you can't play even though you want to come back, for me that's like kicking the guy in the head when he's down. These players will never forget it.
Wilson scrambles right. Good scrambling ability that he shows there, and he's not known for it. And Allen, the intended receiver.
Kerry Justin, number 26, a good job of getting his hands up to tip that football a little bit. Wilson is on Marcus Allen all the way. We'll go back to him here as he gets to the outside. Marcus is broken out of his pattern now, coming back inside. And Justin, as you could see, up inside, just got his fingertips on that ball. Marcus did a good job of adjusting to a quarterback in trouble.
And so Stan Talley will be kicking to Bobby Joe Edmonds. And Edmonds again can give Seattle good field position.
Short kick.
Takes it at the 46-yard line. Has 3 yards to the 49. Trey Junkin was there. A 40-yard punt. Timeout. Seattle leads at 28-13. $150,000 Kodak invitation from Rochester, New York. That's next Saturday here on NBC. Seattle from their own 49-yard line. Here is Kurt Warner. And he has 2 yards to the Los Angeles 49-yard line. So he now has 97 yards rushing in this ball game. So he is knocking at the door of another 100-yard game. Reggie McKenzie and Van McElroy making the tackle. He has 16, soon to be 17.
Charlie, a lot of fans who didn't show today, and I think some showing their frustration with the strike. Another group leaving now, showing their frustration with the Raiders' performance today.
7:23 and counting, time remaining.
Here it is.
There it is.
And another first down, I think. And Warner mad that he didn't get away with a long touchdown. Again, using that wonderful cutback ability.
28 carries, 104 yards.
Looks like they're going to measure this one. Let's look at the cutback. Aiming for the left off tackle, the left side of the line. Watch how far back he goes.
That's a great move.
Literally goes all the way back beyond the center, back to almost the other tackle where they lined up initially. And that's why you can't over pursue on him. He makes it very tough on you. You got to pursue along the line and not leave any gaps. If you leave him, he'll find them.
The tackle by Eddie Anderson. 3rd down and 1, going for another 3rd down conversion. And he has it, almost breaks it to the 35-yard line. Ooh, just a step away from 6 more points.
Charlie, as bad a taste as has been left by the strike, there were a few lighter moments. Did you read about what Ditka did back in Chicago?
I love that. Yes.
Mike had a vote, and he said, should we keep some of these replacement players? They voted 44-1 not to keep any of the players. And he said, we're going to keep 16 anyway. And he said, I thought we were going to be realistic. We want to win games and go to the Super Bowl. It's not a popularity contest. I'm the boss. I'll run the team as I see fit. Well, why vote, Mike?
Right.
Why vote?
Well, he thought maybe they would go along with him.
Yeah,
and they didn't. No.
He kept a bunch of those spare bears anyway.
I always wondered 44-1, who was the one? And as you said earlier, I think he misunderstood what the vote was about.
He didn't know what the vote was about.
Randall Morris is now in the ball game, and he carries.
The other guy I loved was Buddy Ryan. Didn't Buddy offer to trade his team sight unseen for any other team in the NFL?
Yes. And no takers.
And no takers. Well, I tell you, Chuck would have gone for it his first week, I think, with his team. He didn't have much to work with.
Winning builds unity. That's true.
Boy, I tell you, it does. And this loss at home will take a while for these Raiders to get over. This is going to be one that will not sit well with them, will not sit well certainly with their coaches or with Al Davis, and it will make their problems more difficult.
Here's Randall Morris again. Chuck Knox, by the way, he could write a book of quotes because he does have a lot of them, and he uses them all the time.
Loves the quotes. I think my favorite Knox quote is where he says, "What you do speaks so loudly, I cannot hear what you say."
Yes. And there it is. What you do speaks so clearly. I don't have to hear what you say.
I'm remembering it from several years ago.
I know you are. I got this from your brother Phil. Because he remembers it also. What you do, that's so true.
That's absolutely true, and it's the way he deals with his players. The other thing,
as long as he deals with his players, then it works. Some people don't. They'll say it and they don't deal that way.
You watch him. You watch his eyes. He does something interesting with his eyes.
Krieg going deep. End zone. Touchdown. Yes. Ray Butler has his second of the ball game from 31 yards out. He got behind Lionel Washington. Butler 4 receptions, 68 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Willie Brown, defensive backfield coach. You saw Flores walk over and say, "Who was it?" Willie just made a brief comment. You can watch it. Krieg back, and this again. When Krieg is hot, he just has magic in the way he throws that ball. Lionel Washington. They traded to St. Louis to get him earlier this year. He's played some good football, but people have sure gone shopping in his direction a lot of times.
And Norm Johnson right down the middle. 52 yards in 6 plays. The score, Seattle 35, Los Angeles 13. Here it is again.
And you wonder what may be going through the head of a man who's not here, the judge, Lester Hayes. Hayes, whose feeling is that he's got toes that don't work on his foot. The Raiders say he is healthy, but they're not going to pay him a salary.
Vance Mueller and Doki Williams are the deep backs. Norm Johnson to kick off, 4:18. That is the time remaining. Seattle comfortably in front now, 35-13. Mueller from the goal line, out to the 10, and he'll return to the 14-yard line. And Tony Burse was there to stop him at the 14, where it will be a first down. Right now in the west of the AFC, San Diego in front of their ball game, so they would be 5-1. Denver and Minnesota play tomorrow night. Seattle would be 4-2. The Raiders 3-3, and Kansas City 1-5.
Of course, there are an awful lot of folks around the country who predicted that these Seattle Seahawks were going to be a participant in the Super Bowl festivities this year. Right now, with the way they've handled this Raider team, although it was not a Raider team that looked like the Raiders we know, they certainly do appear to be back on track for the kind of season you need to get into the playoffs and do well. Look out.
Wilson's pass is complete to Vance Mueller. And Mueller gets out to the 28-yard line, 14 yards in the first down. 3:56 and counting. We have not seen Bo Jackson as we expected to. Wearing number 34.
Helmet won't do you a lot of good if you carry it under your arm all day. I'm sure he's disappointed. I know he wanted to play. Offsides. Clay. Frustrating day.
Clay coming back too soon on the right side. Again, that right side, Merlin, you referred to it. The right tackle on offense, John Clay, number 78. Here's the call.
False start prior to the snap, number 78 offense.
Clay, the #1 draft choice out of Missouri this year, and the right guard, number 68, Bruce Wilkerson, the #2 draft choice out of Tennessee.
A couple of rookies. They're going to make their mistakes. Clay, they moved Clay over, tried him at left tackle. He just could not function over there. I think eventually going to be a football player, but it's hard when you put 2 rookies together. You need the veteran. You need the veteran in there, and they had that. And Dean Maraldi's kind of disappeared for personal reasons here on the scene. And of course, you put the 2 rookies there, they're going to take their lumps.
And 6 Raider guards have gone on injured reserve. That could. Oh, flags are down. The pass is caught right at the first down marker. Terry Taylor was there for defense. And here's the call. Going to be defensive holding. There's a player on each side. That's Eric Clay, number 37, and the player for the Raiders is number 33, Eddie Anderson. They are replacement players who then were kept by their respective teams.
Both these teams kept several players. These two happen to be activated
for this game.
Eddie Anderson, by the way, played about 5 games for Seattle last year. He's really a hitter.
And he was in their training camp this year.
Very physical football player. In fact, it was Anderson that put the hit on Steve Watson in Denver that broke 6 of Watson's ribs. And Charlie, you talk about losing out in the strike. Denver lost Watson and also Billy Bryant, their starting center, during that last strike game.
Wilson is sacked at the 30-yard line. There's another flag.
Well, and you asked the question, where did Jacob Green come from? And the answer is he came right around John Clay at that right end. What a long day. I once lined up in front of a young rookie from Atlanta, and he just got to where he was thinking, I don't know what he was thinking, but he didn't see me all day long. And they asked me after the game, is that the worst football player you've ever seen? And I kind of defended the kid. I said he's a rookie. He's going to play better. He just needs time to mature. I got the nicest letter from his mother. His mother wrote to me.
Good for her. Seattle's 5th sack.
He got better, too. He became a pretty darn good football player.
3rd down and 8. Wilson's pass is complete to Marcus Allen. Allen is down again, close to the 1st down marker. Kerry Justin makes a tackle and a little more pushing and shoving, and we're taking a countdown to the 2-minute. Now the official stopped the clock at 2:13. The play meanwhile went out to the 38-yard line, and it's going to be a 1st down. And let's take a look at some scores. Washington defeating the Jets by 1. These are the early games, most of them close. Chicago by 1. San Francisco by 2. We'll have some more for you right after this play. That's interceptable. Oh, no.
Should have been.
Should have been. Eugene Robinson was diving for it. Melvin Jenkins was coming over behind it.
That's the other thing that happens. Should have been intercepted by 2 players and ended up not intercepted by either.
We promised you scores. We're going to give you a commercial. The faces tell the story. Reggie McKenzie, number 54, as you come across the Raider bench.
Those are not the intimidating Raiders who have made it so difficult for teams to come into this Coliseum, and that's one thing that is definitely missing in this game. The physical kind of football that has traditionally been Raider football. The traditional team today, or the physical team today, the Seahawks.
And it's now time to name our most valuable player. The award sponsored by Budweiser. The MVP is Dave Krieg of Seattle. And Budweiser will make a contribution to the United Way on behalf of all of the MVPs selected throughout the league today. He set the tone, didn't he?
He sure did. We can make a good case for Kurt Warner, too, but it was Krieg, I think, his leadership early in this game that really got them off to that flying start.
Wilson going deep. And almost intercepted again. Jesse Hester, the intended receiver. Patrick Hunter was there. And the lineup tonight on NBC. Our House, Family Ties, My Two Dads, and then, of course, the Sunday night movie. Pamela Sue Martin, Tim Matheson, Woody Harrelson, and Susan Rutan.
Lee Coven, a little Hollywood, or a little Halloween Hollywood celebration.
That's right. Halloween is. Last night we changed the clocks, and next week it's Halloween. I don't know if there's a relationship there or not. Did you like the extra hour sleep? I loved it. I tell you, I loved it.
I did too, brother.
I turned the clock back at 9 o'clock. I said, hot dogs, it's only 8 o'clock. Fernandez, the intended receiver. Now, we promised you the rest of those scores. Pittsburgh by 3 over Cincinnati. Philadelphia 37-20. Indianapolis 30-16 over New England. These are the early games. Buffalo in overtime over Miami. 37-33 Houston, and they may have a new running back soon. Green Bay by 1, 34-33. Fourth quarter, San Diego is still in front, and the Giants, fourth quarter, they have their first victory well in hand. They now, by the way, they now lead 30-7. That score just handed me. Mark Wilson Christensen is decked at the 46. Boy, he takes it. He is so strong. He takes a hit like that and comes right back up. 15 yards on the play.
He's going to be sore tomorrow, Charlie.
Oh, yeah.
He has taken some real pops, and these players haven't been hit in a couple of weeks. There's a lot of them going to be sore tomorrow.
Incomplete to Fernandez. The neck is always sore after the first football game. Is that right?
Well, the whole body.
Yeah.
Your body just conditions to the pounding you take, and really, when you haven't played in a couple of weeks, it doesn't matter whether you've been injured or just sitting or coming back into camp. Your body really does get sore, and then you kind of swing into a tempo, and you take those shots in practice, and you're in the pads, and you play in a game. After a while, it just doesn't hurt that much anymore. Maybe you're numb.
Interesting matchups next week on NBC. We'll come back to those in just a moment. Wilson intercepted. Kenny Easley, bad shoulder and all, has his second interception of the ball game.
Well, and that's the kind of throw that led Mark Wilson to the bench originally. He came in with a flourish here in the second half. A couple of really good passes, good choices early on. But this one sails over the head of Todd Christensen. 3 Seattle defenders there. And I got to tell you, what are you going to do? I mean, you're that far behind. Seattle knows you're going to throw the deep pass. I mean, they're all waiting back there saying, hey, if that ball's in the air, it's as good as mine.
Mark Wilson, 12 of 23, 155 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, all in the second half. And Randall Morris gets the call.
Charlie, I'll go back to something. Let me let you do these first, and then we'll talk about it.
Let's look at these matchups next week. That will be on NBC. Kansas City at Chicago. Chiefs have got they've got their work cut out for them. The Raiders at New England, yes, they have theirs. Indianapolis at the Jets, Pittsburgh, Miami, Houston and Cincinnati, and Cleveland at San Diego.
I'll tell you, a situation like this really hurts a team like Kansas City in particular. A new coach trying to put a new system in. Here he's had to go through all the machinations of this strike. You look at the very soulful look of Mark Wilson, who's got to be disappointed at what has happened here in the final part of this game. I think very ecstatic at one point with the reception he received from the fans. Knox's team has played their kind of game. Control football, physical football.
And again, the last time that Seattle won here in the Coliseum was back in 1983. Just over a minute to go. Randall Morris from Long Beach Poly High School, the ball carrier.
Charlie, I want to go back to something I said earlier.
I like that helmet.
Look at that.
Like hold it. We're going to go away for a moment. We'll be back, boss.
Off to a bad start. I figured we'd see Wilson today, but I got to believe that we may see Vince Evans down the road, because I know that the Raiders are going to be very unhappy with all of the quarterbacks they've had on the field today.
Hilger, 7 of 13, 78 yards and an interception, sacked 3 times. 7 of 13. That was the first half. Randall Morris, the ball carrier. I've got a final. Giants win it. They finally won 30-7 over St. Louis. They just did. Yes.
There's Vince Evans. The other guy who's also on that sideline, who is eligible to be activated next week, Jim Plunkett.
Yes.
Now, there are those who would say, why Vince Evans? Bring back Jim Plunkett. We remember.
And I'm the one that says it.
Well, I tell you, Plunkett has come back from so many injuries to lead this team and to take them, well, 1 year, of course, to a Super Bowl championship against the Philadelphia Eagles. Was that back in '82? Came back later, and I'll tell you, he has managed to do it a lot of times. There is Plunkett. There is Plunkett. So there are a couple of choices available to Tom Flores and Al Davis, and I got to believe they're going to be serious about it.
What about this backfield? Jim Plunkett, Marcus Allen, Bo Jackson. The Big Eight, all 3 Heisman Trophy winners.
Wow.
How about that?
Well, nobody
nice
else can
man.
think about it. Plunkett is a nice man.
Yes, he is.
And there's Jackson. I wonder if this activation may have prompted a few ticket sales today, Charlie.
It may have. Here's the kick. Fair catch is called for by Ron Fellows. And it just rolls on down inside of the 10. 58 yards on the kick. By the way, time to thank our spotters, Gretchen Meyer and Chuck Panama, and Dennis Mnuchin, our statistician. Andy, our scorer. How does Andy pronounce his last name? Apadapa? That's close. Apadaka. It's like a honeymoon.
That baby brother.
Well, he's your backup wardrobe, too. We talked about this. In case you don't have the right shirt or the tie, he's ready. I said, why are you dressed up so nicely in a coat? He says, Merlin may need my clothes.
Movable mannequin.
That's right. He is nice. Lovely man.
There's a happy man.
Yes. Raiders now from their own 9-yard line with 34 seconds left. Wilson throws far side, and it is incomplete to James Lofton.
Charlie, we spent some time talking about Bo Jackson. You know, there are a lot of folks back in Kansas City very interested in what his decision is going to be. You know, will he stay here and play football? Will he return? Did not play a lot of baseball in the last half of the season. And they're chanting for Bo on the stadium.
That's right.
They can hear us talking.
We're
talking about him too, folks.
That's right.
There he is. He wants to play too. I'll tell you, it's got to be hard for him to sit.
But when you get this far behind, it really just doesn't fit into the program. We're trying to win a ball game.
Well, it doesn't, but I think you let him get in and take a couple of plays anyway, just to get a feel of what's going on. There's certainly no percentage in it.
And also a footnote to today's ball game. Ray Butler for the Seattle Seahawks, number 83, with 2 touchdown receptions in the ball game today. This is the second time in his 8-year career that he has had 2 touchdown receptions, and the other one was last year against New England.
Yeah, you
there
see
he is.
him accepting some congratulations, and well-deserved. 2 very beautiful bombs down the sideline. We're used to seeing Darrell Turner at the end of those passes. Now there are 2 guys that are going to scare you to death.
Turner with 1 reception today. 14 seconds remaining.
Well, the one thing you can say, if you're on the Raiders side of the field, is we will play better next week. I think that is a fact.
We pointed out. Go ahead.
I promise you that this man, Tom Flores, in the middle there, and you won't see the pain and concern on his face. That's internalized, but it's there.
We pointed out the Raiders at New England. That game, of course, on NBC. Seattle home to host Minnesota. That game will be on CBS. That's the reason that it didn't come up on our panel. So Seattle hosting Minnesota in the Kingdom. Todd Christensen. He has been part of the only bright lights that the Raiders have had today. As time has run out here, Christensen, 8 receptions, 124 yards. Seattle wins it 35-13. We'll be back in just a moment.